好，同志们，我们都在轰轰烈烈的站起来，站起来。Welcome to the 256th edition of China Now with your gang of two, Nansu, Michael Olson, and you, of course, make us a gang of three. Each week, Nansu and I look out across the broad expanse of the Pacific Ocean from our home port here at SantaCruzVoice.com, and we ask, China Now, friend or foe, war or peace?
Bo,
Both. Ni hao, Nansu.
pretty good, Michael.
So, we're getting pretty close to the all important fourth plenum in which Xi Jinping will initiate his campaign to bring a common destiny to the people of the world. So,
Well, the first step is probably the common destiny with Taiwan.
yes. So, we've heard Xi Jinping talk about the common destiny. That's kind of like his theme that he's rolling out as who he is and what he wants to do and where he wants to go. But I've never really understood exactly what he means by common destiny, unless, of
Well,
course, he wants
well,
to
have
go.
you ever heard of a communism?
Mhm.
The communist war, it's the whole world without government. The communism by the classical definition of from Karl Marx, the communist world is the world without government, because Karl Marx believe country government it's apparatus used by one social class to rule other social classes. So therefore, by the time of a communist world, uh, it's realized that then there is no government. So the entire world will have a common destiny. That's what the common destiny Xi Jinping always talk about.
But what I see when I look at the People's Republic of China is not a communist paradise. It's more like a prison.
It
And
is a prison.
Xi
That's why
Jinping,
people left. That's why people leaving, right?
and Xi Jinping, seems to be like the warden, and he's got millions, or I don't know, maybe 100 million, who knows how many prison guards, and he's got everybody locked up tight.
It's
And what
true. That's why,
I
that's why I don't want to go back to China. And also, I think I'm American. I'm a Chinese American. And Chinese American, make no mistake, Chinese American is American, not Chinese. So that's why, also advise people, hey, State Department has an alert. It's been put there for 2 years. If you're thinking to, to plan to travel to China, stay alert. Now this is level number two.
and so that's what I see too. I see the People's Republic of China has become a prison, and it's what I always feared would happen when I was studying Chinese so long ago. I thought, my goodness, why would I go there? Because I know I'll get in trouble. It won't take me long to get in trouble when you have somebody who does not allow.
Oh, ho, 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 ho. For a talk show host, American talk show host, go to China. Oh, ho, I can only see you know, the image of Michael Ocean before behind the bars.
Yes, nothing but trouble, right? Nothing but trouble. But I didn't go. I'm here. I stayed here, and I'm happy that I did. Although I still love China, and I
the
probably,
culture, the culture that was prior to communism, right?
yep. My favorite was the Taoist poets. I think that era, but all gone now. And I when I see what China has become, and I hear Xi Jinping talk about a common destiny for mankind, what I'm thinking is that he wants everybody in his jail. He wants everybody in the world locked up tight in his prison. And I think that's what he means when he says common destiny. You're all
That,
going to be inmates in my prison.
okay. In Chinese, they call, the people call themselves, I forgot. There was what was the there was let me see. They say, the people in China, uh they call themselves Chinese chiefs. The kind of a
Oh,
the
chives,
veg
chives.
chives, yeah.
Yes,
The
chives.
Chi
Okay, that's very good.
Yeah, they
What do
call
they mean
themselves
by
because
chive?
chive it's a vegetable, right? And then when you grow bigger, and then you can harvest them, and then you harvest the half of them, and then they will continue to grow. You can continue to harvest, right? So the people in China call themselves Chinese chives because the Communist Party used them what in every way they want to use them for whatever the purpose they want to use them, and they keep harvest them, taking advantage from them. It's endless.
It's endless. You keep growing the chives, you keep chopping them off,
Yep,
keep growing them, and they keep chopping them off. And so people in China think of themselves as mere chives to be chopped off by the Chinese Communist Party.
yep.
It seems funny that the socialists of the world would not look at what's happened to China and think, why bother going in that direction? But they don't seem to. They seem to.
Well,
They seem to.
well, that's the part I never understand. Now, in China, now the Communist Party started in 1921. That's like probably what 4 years after the October Revolution in Russia. So at that time, in the entire world, people didn't really have much of opportunity to see what kind of result that communist movement will bring to the world. But it's been over 100 years, and then people all around the world already see uh, enough. I think it's more than enough how and what the communist movement can bring to the world, to our real life. And people still don't, have enough alert about what's been happening.
The evidence is there, plain as the nose on my face, and that's pretty plain. And wherever you look, it's pretty much the same. It's a what that paradise turns out to be is a totalitarian fascism in which people become the chives and
Yep.
chopped off.
And also, there's another word they use them to describe themselves. After the forced organ harvesting, become a public secret. Everybody knows that in China, so they call themselves uh the human mind, like a mining product. They are the human mind for the high level officials, meaning their organ is the human mind waiting to be.
Of course, and that came to the fore right before the September 3rd victory, the big Lime march in Beijing, when Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin and were walking up toward the stand, and Xi Jinping said, it used to be that you could live to be 70, and that was old, but now that's a child. And Putin said, yeah, with organ transplanting, we might be able to live forever. And that was exactly what they're thinking. And that's why the Chinese people have come to think of themselves as organ minds for the
High level official,
uh,
party officials, for people like Xi Jinping.
might live to be forever. Well, we do have some interesting stories to work through today, ladies and gentlemen, as we always do. And I guess one of the first ones I want to put on the table is Harvard's Chinese spy has reappeared. Now, remember, what was it? Back in it was a few years ago that we covered this. It was January 2020. So that was 5 years ago. The US government staged what appeared to be a textbook takedown of Harvard chemistry professor Charles M. Lieber. The headline read, China's Spy. So Charles Lieber was a participant in the Thousand Talents campaign. Now, this is something that's hugely significant, a contribution of the United States in the building of China. And what we contributed was 1,000 talents. How did that work, Nansu?
Well, Thousand Talent Plan, it's the communist regime's plan to target the U.S. top scientist, top engineer, and top technology, and top pretty much top everything. Uh, Top financial management, wherever the talent you have, basically.
How can China steal all of our knowledge?
Well, what they did was they will come to the United States. They will see, oh, you are successful in your career, wherever your area is. They will say, okay, for example, there are tremendous focus on the modern science and new science and technology. So they will say if you are doing certain research or lab testing supported by one of the American universities, then they will come. They will specifically ask you, work half time in China. You don't have to quit your job. That's the key. They don't want you to quit your job and go to China. That's
I
the
want you to
key.
continue getting all the information. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They want you to continue your research subjects here in the United States, funded by the Fed. Tremendous of them, a lot of those projects were funded by the taxpayers' money. Many of them from the U.S. grant, and then they will ask you to continue your research, and then they ask you, say, maybe you can spend half time, maybe a quarter time in China, and then they will select an university in China who are pretty strong in the same areas that you are doing the research on. Then they will have you go to that Chinese university, open a lab, and they will buy the same equipment that you are using in the American university. They will buy the same set of equipment, and if they don't have in China, they will import them and put it in that lab in the Chinese university, and then they will have a bunch of research assistants help you. They say, well, you can travel back and forth, and then you don't have to stop your research and test, because you can doing that on both lab instead of one. So basically, wherever you're doing the job you're doing in American universities, you just copy them, in the Chinese university. So they follow exactly the step by step, and they know everything, the latest that whatever from your research project.
And of course, former Harvard professor Charles Lieber, who was found guilty of concealing his affiliation with a Chinese recruitment program, was sentenced to time served in prison, which was 2 days. So he got busted for participating with this Chinese talent recruitment program, spent 2 days in jail, and that was it. And of course, 2 years of supervised release with 6 months of home arrest. And that was the end of that. So, what did he study? Charles Lieber was known as the nanotech king. And what he studied was ways to transform humans into machines, for example, with lipid nanoparticles. And even though it isn't publicly known, some of these bioweapon batches contain graphene oxide and other self replicating nanobots However, that is not supported by regulatory testing or peer-reviewed evidence. So, where is Charles Lieber now? Lo and behold, he is resurfaced in Shenzhen, China, as a top professor at the Tsinghua Shenzhen International Graduate School. So, one of our best and brightest, Harvard's own, has apparently defected to the CCP and is studying how to turn nanobots into weapons. I guess that's how I read this. You know, I keep when I see things like this, Nansu, I keep being reminded of the ants and the aphids and how ants actually farm aphids. They will pick up these little aphids that are plant sucking critters, and they would place them on the plant where they want the aphid to suck the juices out. And then the aphid sucks the juice out of the plant, and the ant goes and gets the aphid and steals the juice that the aphid sucked out of the plant. That to me is exactly what China's Thousand Talent campaign is. It's a way of sucking the juice out of American education, taking our best and brightest and doing it. So, shouldn't that be against the law?
Well, of course, it's against the law because when the U.S. University professors or research scientists, when they sign the name, the contract with the federal government receiving taxpayers' money as a research grant, they basically promise that they cannot share or anything from that research, wherever the discovery is with the foreign countries. So now talk about this Tsinghua Shenzhen University. We actually talk about them many times. I'm not sure if you remember. That was actually my investigation report.
Ah, oh, well, elaborate then.
Okay, now in 2022, I published a report, Banking on China, UC, University of California. The collaboration with China is on the spotlight. Now, in that report, I talk about China's military and civilian fusion program. Remember the program?
Yes, oh yes.
Yeah, that basically, the Chinese universities, research groups come to United States, and go to the universities and in the all commercial corporations to get technology and go back to China and gave to Chinese military. And the leading figure in that, military and civilian program, it's Tsinghua University.
Ah,
Now, Tsinghua University is China's MIT, and then also the China's military and civilian fusion program. It's directly on the Chinese military central committee, and the program chair for the military and civilian program, it's Xi Jinping himself. It's directly under Xi Jinping. And Tsinghua University, uh, nickname China's MIT, is really the top China, the number one university in China, and directly work for Xi Jinping. And Tsinghua University, you know, uh, um, established in 2014. You go back a little further in 2005, the 10 campus of UC, University of California's 10 campus established a so-called 10 plus 10 alliance with 10 top universities in China, including Tsinghua. In 2014, the Shenzhen University was established. The original name of it's not called what it's called now, Tsinghua Shenzhen International Institute. Graduate Institute. The original name is called Tsinghua Berkeley Shenzhen Institute.
Ooh.
That was 2014. And then now that was how it was established. And then the advisory board, the oversight board, including Tsinghua University's president, that's Communist Party member, and Shenzhen city mayor, that's his communist official, and then um Berkeley's Berkeley school principal. And then the advisory board. It's very important that you look at the advisory board. You know where it is. The advisory board, including all the Chinese um, uh, high tech big corporations like Huawei, like ZTE, like Tencent, all of them are now under the sanction list of U.S. government. Now, and then American companies like Apple, Cisco, Applied Material. There's one more I forgot. And then European tech company Siemens and Taiwan tech company Delta Corporation, I believe, and also a bunch of Chinese venture capital firms and insurance firms. Guess why they put all these Chinese venture capital firms and insurance firms in there, sitting side by side with all these, big tech giants from United States, Europe, China, and Taiwan.
So they would know where to put the money.
Yep, that's it. They're ready. Wherever, and then that institute, the Chinese CCP knew what they want. They only have four majors in that graduate institute. They don't have a bachelor program. It's only the top students from various different universities of China. They graduate from those. The good ones will have the chance to study in their graduate institute in Shenzhen. And Shenzhen, by the way, it's the name of the city right next to Hong Kong.
Right. It's
And
the experimental city.
yeah, the
Done
experimental
how
city.
things set up.
And you know what they call this institute? The Chinese government called it, CCP called this institute. It's called Government University and Industry Collaboration Model. Now, keep in mind that's not American government though. It's a Chinese government with both, universities here in China and in the United States, top universities, and both, top, in industry giants corporations in the United States and in China. That's that they say this in Shenzhen Institute is the first one of this government university and industry collaboration model. And that's
And
how.
you know,
And
the significance of this is, I think, that everything that all of the information that we were sharing with the universities in China, because of this civil military fusion principle, everything we shared with scientists in China went straight to the Chinese military.
yeah, it's correct. Congress actually had a report last year. They identified 8,800 U.S. research reports funded by the DoD, Department of Defense, actually have co-authors from China, and another additional 150 reports that this kind of research and publications funded by the intelligence community of the United States actually had a co-author from China. So that's more than 9,000 publications that, the research results, we had Chinese co-authors from square one.
Wow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is China Now with your gang of two, Nan Su, who is the senior investigative reporter with Epoch Times, Michael Olson, who was once of a mind to go to China and help rebuild it, but was dissuaded from doing so by the great
Oh,
Helmut.
good thing you didn't go. You're going to become one of the 1.4 billion prisoners if
Yeah,
you did.
they would have chopped me up and sold my thumb for something. So,
You're going to be the American American tribes,
yeah, I would have been
for the
an
CC
American child.
for the CCP.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we have some good news about that rare earth monopoly that Xi Jinping owns. So, stay tuned for some very good news. We will be right back after this important messages.
It's high time to celebrate the opening of the new Hook Outlet Dispensary, 1129 Mission in Santa Cruz. Get in on the opening fun and really low prices on the Hook's unmatched selection of top quality medical and recreational cannabis flower, vapes, drinks, gummies, and concentrates. The Hook Outlet is now the West Side's source for finest cannabis at the lowest prices. Get in on all the opening fun and low prices at the all-new Hook Outlet. HookOutlet.com for details and deals.
If you're between the ages of 49 and 63 and can't go back to your job because of a physical or mental disability, Social Security could pay you as much as $3,800 a month. Call the Social Security Disability Helpline. Our team will give you a free case review and explain to you how much money you're entitled to. And you won't pay anything unless we get you benefits. Call now.
800-610-7840. That's 800-610-7840.
You can help build one of America's first full-service local news and talk streaming radio stations, SantaCruzVoice.com. You can help the Voice team build a streaming radio infrastructure of hardware, software, and connectivity by donating your time and or money. Your donations will result in a radio station that everyone will enjoy and that you can truly be proud of. Please go to SantaCruzVoice.com and click support. SantaCruzVoice.com, and thank you.
You need a clean, pleasant space to conduct business, but you don't want the burden of a long, expensive lease. Your solution is Satellite Co-working and Digital Media Studio on Soquel Avenue. Satellite offers private offices, meeting and conference rooms, even co-working by the hour, day, week, or month. Schedule a tour at satellitecoworking.com. Mention Santa Cruz Voice for 20% off your first reservation.
Welcome back. This is China Now with your gang of two, Michael Olson, Nan Su. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it was Deng Xiaoping himself who once remarked that while Saudi Arabia may have all the oil, China has all the rare earths. And what does that mean? Well, in April, China imposed export restrictions on 7 rare earth elements, which crippled American manufacturing across dozens of critical sectors. Pulled the rug out from underneath us. They did. Ford Motor Companies had to temporarily shutter its production lines, while European suppliers closed entire factories. In one calculated move, Beijing demonstrated its power to completely hobble the West. And that's us. How did it do that? So this economic warfare represents decades of strategic planning by the Chinese Communist Party. While America slept, China cornered the market on materials essential to modern civilization. By controlling 90% of rare earth processing capacity, it dictates prices and decides who receives supplies. The periodic table became their ultimate economic weapon. So what they did is that they cornered 90% of rare earth processing capacity. They own it and control it, and leaving us nothing. But weapons can be rendered obsolete through superior innovation. And if it's one thing Americans have traditionally been good at, it's innovation. American scientists discovered that combining iron, the planet's fourth most abundant element, with atmospheric nitrogen You can make a compound more magnetic than anything produced by China. This breakthrough doesn't just match Chinese materials, it surpasses them. Now, the key here are magnets. This whole thing started in the 1980s. China was producing cheap magnets and exporting them around the world, shutting down a lot of domestic manufacturing in its customer nations. Is that not what China has been doing forever with everything? It establishes a dominance in the production of something
Yeah, that
and
the,
runs
the
everybody
key
else out of
is
business.
the only technique they have been using again and again repeatedly is, the secret is they can mobilize the resource of entire nation and put this resource behind one after another sector of industry and weaponize this sector, and then have this sector go out of China and beat the same sector of industry in every other nation. So you can't compete with them because they are able to, once they put the resource of an entire nation. That's what a regime is able to do. To have and then they pretty much they don't make any money. They just want to wipe you out because they don't care. They don't care about the profit anymore.
They don't need to.
Yeah, that's right. They basically live on the money that Chinese government took from the Chinese tribes and give to those sectors.
There you go. So the subject here is magnets and the significance of magnets. They have countless industrial applications used in everything from electric motors to windmills to electronics, in cars, in fighter jets, everywhere. It's magnets, magnets, magnets. So yet, iron nitride magnets are coming onto the scene, and this is being developed at the University of Minnesota, which is interesting because Minnesota has a lot of iron deposits. And
It's a University of Minnesota.
University of Minnesota, yes. So listen to this, Professor Jianbing Wang spent nearly a decade perfecting techniques to synthesize iron nitride magnets from the most abundant elements on Earth. His breakthrough, published in 2010, finally explained how combining iron with nitrogen can create a material with magnetism exceeding anything China produces from rare earths. The physics are remarkable. Iron nitride retains full magnetization at 200 degrees Celsius, exceeding the temperature capability of all magnetic compounds except those made from the scarcest and most expensive critical elements. Most importantly, the raw materials come from sources no nation can monopolize. Minnesota's iron ore deposits in atmospheric nitrogen. They can't take that away from them. Iron nitride represents something China cannot replicate. American innovation driven by scientific curiosity rather than state industrial policy, and reduces our national security and economic vulnerabilities while strengthening domestic manufacturing capacity. So it's just like what we were talking about, Nansu, how how the Chinese Communist Party can completely control the nation's focus on industry and do something like corner the rare earth market, but not so good at the innovation, which is run by curiosity. What if we do this? What if we do that? And this innovation is making possible the iron nitride magnets that will, if the industry develops, free us from being subservient to the Chinese Communist Party and all of their rare earth, which would be interesting. So
Now, Nitrogen ion,
Nitrogen, iron nitride magnets. So you
iron nitride magnets. Does that need any does that can that be operated without any specific condition, or just you could just simply replace the magnets as we know the without any other condition?
That I don't know yet. You know, when I first read this story, I was reminded of something that blew through many years ago. It was called cold fusion. Do you remember cold fusion? There was some University of, I think, some people out of Salt Lake City came up with this idea that you could generate energy with a cold fusion instead of a hot fusion. And it gripped, everybody was completely smitten with the idea because it was like, oh, a glass of water will produce endless amounts of energy. So that was the same kind of thing. Now, when I saw this, I thought, yeah, it can't be so. So I looked up iron nitride battery or magnets. And lo and behold, there seems to be a lot of legitimacy to this technology. And if there is, and if we can pull it off, it would obviate the need to go through the Chinese Communist Party for those really strong magnets that hold the world together now, especially the high tech world. And so it's something, and it evidently is a fairly significant big deal, which is good. So
So it's just very normal. Then I think it's super important now that to protect this technology from the thief, the Chinese thieves or spies.
well, yes,
They are very good at stealing things. That's important.
that's how they earn their living. You know, that's what they do. But wait a minute, the interesting thing about this iron nitride battery or magnet technology is that it relies on, it's based on Earth's two most abundant materials.
Did you say the fourth abundant
Well,
rank?
so the iron is abundant and the nitrogen in the air is abundant.
Yep.
So if the Chinese Communist Party does steal the technology, it will just mean that they can do what everybody else can do as well. So they will no longer have a corner on the market. They'll no longer be able to make Donald Trump pant like a little puppy for the prospect of getting more rare earth from the CCP. So that to me is the significance of it. It's like being free if we can pull that off. So there it is. Iron nitride magnet.
Iron nitride retain full magnetization at 200 degrees Celsius. 200 degree.
Twice
Wow. Well, that's the one condition, when you're running that, you have to have 200 degree, right? So you probably need to have a container that can run, with a high temperature, exceeding the temperature capability of all magnet compounds, except those made from the scarcest and most expensive critical elements.
Now, what it says is that iron nitride retains full magnetization at 200 degrees Celsius. So
now basically
it'll still hold the magnetism, which is more significant than any other magnets being made from rare earths.
Oh, so it says normal temperature is good until 200 degree, right?
Yeah.
As
And
long as it's below, I thought you have to have 200
no,
degrees Celsius. No, you don't have to. It's up to 200 degree.
so this is, I take, is potential very good news.
Yeah.
Because
Well, hopefully they can start the manufacture of this thing
horrible.
tomorrow, right? So we can give our middle finger to Xi Jinping, you know.
Well, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And that would think of that would just pull the rug out from under Xi Jinping's bargaining chips. What would he have to bargain with when bargaining with Donald Trump? If he has if he no longer has that corner on the rare earths market. And what will all their rare earths be worth if you can make the magnets out of earth that are not rare at all? So there it is. At any rate, as I think I take it as potential good news, something we can look forward to. Going back to different kinds of news, though, the CCP is exporting its village surveillance model from Mao Zedong's era to the Solomon Islands, Beijing's security partner in the Pacific, in a move that has triggered concerns from opposition leaders throughout the area. So, Chinese police, along with Solomon Island government, visited multiple villages this year to launch Fighter One Community and to promote the model. So this is very interesting because this takes us back to the village spying programs where everybody was spying on everybody during Mao's era. Is that not correct? Feng Xiao was the word being used, I believe. Feng Xiao.
Feng Qiao, it's a name of
Place.
a place.
Yes. And so at this place is where the CCP under Mao Zedong initiated the program of village surveillance.
Yeah, it's a well, basically, Chairman Mao. It's the experience of Communist Party using one part of the society watching another part of society.
Exactly.
It's the so-called working class watching for watching the behavior of those rich people or anti-revolutionary people, the lower class, in under the regime.
Or husbands watching wives to make certain they're not being bad, or children watching parents to make certain they're not being bad. So everybody watching everybody and reporting it to the village authorities. So this is something that is being transmitted to the Solomon Islands, which is really kind of frightening. That's to me, that neck of the woods is kind of special uh, because I know people down there in that neck of the in Melanesia, and somehow the CCP got its hooks into the Solomon Islands and is really converting it to becoming a I don't know, kind of a frightening place.
Now, go back to the iron nitride.
Like that.
I think that's a explosive news, right? That's explosive breaking news. And if we have that, then next time Trump goes see Xi, and he can give Xi his middle finger.
Yeah.
Now, here's the issue. See, now we literally have to use our semiconductor chips in exchange of China's rare earths.
Right.
You know,
We have to give them our crown
if
jewel.
we have our, replacement for the rare earths, we can say, hey, we're not going to give you any
Thing.
advanced semiconductor chips, right? Uh, well, Jason Huang is going to be frustrated because he wouldn't be able to sell. Maybe Nvidia will drop. I don't know. Okay. So, um, uh,
As I understand it, the entire tech world lives on these magnets.
well, more importantly, than the tech world, uh, it's the our auto industry, right? If we don't
Yes,
have a replacement for these magnets,
and the
then some of
aircraft.
the,
Yeah.
our auto industry is going to be, it's going to be dead. And now, one thing I'm not sure if that report says basically, back in 2010, they already have the breakthrough. They knew back in 2010 they can use this iron nitride to make new type of
Mhm.
magnets. Why didn't they do it back then? It's
Well,
just because the
that is a worthwhile question, and it was one that popped to my mind right away. I,
maybe because all the big these industry giants, they don't want to replace the technology because they don't want to spend more money on that.
that wouldn't make any sense because if you can make it out of iron and nitrogen and not expensive rare earths, it would seem like the magnets would become much,
Cheaper, right? A cheaper
much
solution,
quicker.
right?
Yeah. So the question, I guess the answer to the question would be that we simply don't have the tools yet to make the process feasible. So I guess that's something that I will be looking up because I wonder.
Yeah, because well, you're looking at the cars, the entire car doesn't have to be changed. It's just certain magnets,
Yeah.
right? If the certain magnets can be replaced by a new type of magnet that's made out of the material of this iron nitride, then we're done. We don't have to reinvent the whole wheel of the whole car, right? It's just the magnets. Um, I don't know if the size or the conditions of these new magnets can quickly replace the old type of magnets, but it sounds exciting though.
Well, we're coming up with the top of the hour news. So that'll give us something to go looking for in our 6 minute breaks. We'll go find out why we don't have these unrare earth magnets going right.
Unreal Earth. I
Unrare.
like that.
So, but I take it as good news, a potential for good news. But again, I remember the hoax that that the cold fusion turned out to be, and it was a wonderful idea. It just didn't quite work. And but from the quick glance that I've had about iron nitride magnetism, it seems to be there. And there was a lot of serious talk about it. So that would be great if that's possible. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at the top of the hour break here coming up in a few minutes. But I want to let you know that after the break, Nansu has this incredible piece of information that he just turned up about who owns Taiwan. It's very fascinating stuff. So you want to stay for that when we come back. It's going to be pretty cool. And also, we have a very interesting paper about some of the reasoning that Xi Jinping will have to conduct to decide when to invade Taiwan. Now, most everybody who thinks about it believes that Xi Jinping is going to invade Taiwan. The question isn't if, it's when. Would you agree with that, Don Su?
Yeah, we already talked about it many times.
Many times, yeah.
Yeah, big times. When we talk about the when many, many times. So we will have a different guy, coming from different angle and see what he find out and what are the reasons he believe that which will decide the when
Right.
of the military invasion.
Well, the guy's name is Dr. Gregory J. Moore, and he's a professor of government at Patrick Henry College and senior fellow at the National Institute for Deterrence Studies. So he presented an assessment to the United States Air University in which he argued that Xi Jinping's decision on when to invade Taiwan and risk war with the US depends on 13 critical factors and with 4 additional enduring conditions. So Xi Jinping's got a lot of head scratching to do to go through these, to evaluate these 13 critical factors and 4 additional enduring conditions. But we'll go through them, Nansu and I, and you, and we'll try to make sense of it and figure out exactly when Xi Jinping is most likely to attack Taiwan. Do you think it's inevitable? Do you think that it's not inevitable?
I think if we are ready, it's not inevitable. And I think if we are not ready,
Inevitable.
then it's inevitable. And with the things we are going to talk about at the beginning of next hour, we are going to see, we have to be ready. And we have 100% legal base to be ready for the fight.
And so, whether we want to or not, ladies and gentlemen, we have to prepare for the fight. I guess if there's one theme that continues to run through China now, is that we are at war. We're not exactly shooting yet, but in all other respects, we are at war with China. And when we come back from the top of the hour break, we're going to talk about when and what are the critical factors that Xi Jinping must decide as to when the shooting will start. And like Nansu always says, we must be prepared. Must. Or we will all end up in Xi Jinping's common destiny, which is prison for the entire world. That is the common destiny for Xi Jinping. And not one of us wants to go there. No way. So that's the discussion we're going to pick up when we come back from the top of the hour break here. It is China Now on SantaCruzVoice.com. And we're so happy to have you here wherever you are. You could be all over the world. Maybe you could even listen to us in China, but I don't know. Do you think people can listen to us in China?
No, they censor it. They censor it big time. Once they hear the name of Michael Olson, that's it. It's done. It's a done deal.
Forget about it. All right. Well, we'll try anyway. This is China Now, Michael Olson, Nansu, and you. I want to thank you all, and we will be right back after the top of the hour, and maybe we'll learn some more about iron nitride magnetism and whether it's here or not.